And first, we heard of the American dream, right? And we still hear about it. Then lately, we've been bombarded with the Chinese dream. As the world's two largest economies and presumably the world's two most powerful countries, we've decided to discuss this matter and compare the two. Because of vastly competing interests, we would like to know if these dreams are compatible or whether they're headed for a clash. Well, we begin our road to discovery from ifeng.com. The American and Chinese dreams are different in 7 ways. First, the Chinese dream is to realize a nation's prosperity, while the American dream is to realize personal wealth. Compared to China, the U.S. has a geographic advantage. That's why Americans can focus on their personal dreams. China, on the other hand, has a dangerous environment. History shows China has been in conflict with neighboring countries. That's why national security is China's first priority. Second, the Chinese dream is about revitalizing the country, while the American dream promotes personal success. Third, the Chinese dream has to be achieved by Chinese themselves, while the American dream can be achieved by individuals, including those from foreign countries. The American dream dates back to the Declaration of Independence. It says everyone has a right to live, to enjoy freedom, and to pursue happiness. The American dream is focused on equality. China's President Xi Jinping said the Chinese must walk in a Chinese way to pursue the Chinese dream. Fourth, the Chinese dream promotes collective happiness as opposed to personal freedoms and happiness for the American dream. Fifth, the Chinese dream is rooted in history, while the American dream is a real-world experience. Western countries worry about China's rise partly because they know Chinese history and believe Chinese people have the ability to make history repeat itself. Sixth, the Chinese dream relies on collective efforts, while the American dream requires individual excellence. And seventh, the Chinese dream is for the nation's glory, and the American dream is for personal pride. China has experienced much destruction and humiliation since the Opium War. The U.S. cannot understand this because it never experienced such humiliation. You know what? So little in common. Now, a former U.S. ambassador to China asks whether it's possible for both countries to fuse their dreams. He believes, well, it's necessary. News.neties.com reports. Here's J. Stapleton Roy's take on the American and Chinese dreams. History provides ample evidence that as countries change, so do their dreams. Gaining the strength to protect oneself also gives one the capability to run roughshod over the interests of others. In a well-ordered international system, there must be constraints on the arbitrary use of power. The U.S. domestic political system is based on this concept. It's equally relevant to China's concept of peaceful development. People in both China and the United States worry whether the Chinese and American dreams are compatible. They see that alongside the many areas of common interest between the two countries, there are troublesome frictions that need constant attention. In both countries, attitudes are divided over whether cooperation or competition will be the dominant feature of U.S.-China relations in the future. In President Obama's meeting with Chinese President Xi Jinping in March this year, the two leaders reaffirmed their commitment to building a new model of relations aimed at reducing the possibility of confrontation and conflict, enhancing mutual respect, and expanding areas of cooperation. The same month, U.S. First Lady Michelle Obama used her visit to China to emphasize the human side of the relationship, sending the message that the bonds between China and the U.S. must not just be between leaders, but must be strengthened by people-to-people interactions and the cultivation of shared visions, especially among young people. This is a difficult but achievable task. We must constantly ask ourselves, are Chinese and American dreams more likely to be compatible if we let differences dominate the relationship, or if we expand cooperation, contain frictions, and build on common interests? The noblest dream for any country is to have strength that contributes to the peace, security, wealth, and happiness of all nations. This is the dream that China and the U.S. should share. Now, as a footnote, Ambassador Roy's thoughts are crucial because he grew up in Western China during the turmoil, by the way, of the Second World War. He was a high school student in Nanjing and Shanghai during the Chinese Civil War and the Communist Revolution, leaving only when the Korean War erupted. Now, he accompanied 3 congressional delegations to China during the Cultural Revolution and lived in Beijing for 7 years as a U.S. government official. You might say he knows both countries more than most people.